This is a cold case that there's a cold thing. Toe tag, no name, can't hang. 151 with no chase. Gassed up like propane, won't last.
Alright, let's hear what that sounds like raw. I mean, it sounds really good with all the effects, but let's listen to how it sounded when we first got this.
Well, it's the rhythmical pinnacle of syllables, digital criminal killing you. What you gonna really do? Drilling you with sound waves. Feel it when the...
And I mean, that doesn't sound bad, but obviously we got some work to fit this vocal into the track. So let's start out with this Waves Q4. What I'm doing here is before I'm hitting these compressors, the 1176 and the LA2A, we're going to do a little band pass, -3 decibels, around 300 hertz. Take out some of that low mid, little bit of throat sound. Then we add a series of compressors, the 1176, which what we're doing here, we got a pretty quick attack, letting some of that transient in, and a pretty quick release. We're just going to kind of chop off some of the more dynamic material. With the LA2A, we're just doing some simple gain riding. Let's listen to that.
Well, it's the rhythmical pinnacle of syllables, digital criminal killing you. What you gonna really do? Drilling you with sound waves. Feel it when the ground shakes. Silly, you should really keep your...
And I want you guys, as we're doing this, to notice the gain staging. Look at the input and the output. They should be pretty close. This means that, or what this does for your audio is it keeps it cleaner, because one plugin is not working harder than the next. Everything leaves the same level as it comes in. Then we throw a vintage EQ, also made by Waves. I think all these are Waves plugins that I'm using today. Rolling off some 82 hertz. We want to reserve that low end information for a bass and for a kick drum. Don't want the vocals to compete with that at all. And then we're also taking out some low mid around 400 hertz, dipping that out close to 3 decibels. Also adding some air, some crispness on the top. A little bit of, we don't want it to be too obtrusive to the vocal and make it harsh sounding. But let me bypass this, unbypass this, so you guys can hear that.
Well, it's the rhythmical pinnacle of syllables, digital criminal killing you. What you gonna really do? Drilling you with sound waves. Feel it when the ground...
Yeah, and what that really does is just help the vocal shine a lot more. It gives it a lot more presence. Also notice that we are removing a lot of stuff that is masking, and that's a good idea to keep in mind, because when you dip stuff out, what it does is it benefits the vocal, because there's stuff in the vocal that may not be necessary. It might be competing with certain instruments. A lot of that low mid stuff, there's always, I think for every instrument, there's always a little bit of low mid information in there. So to dip stuff out when you don't need it is more effective than just boosting the heck out of your signal, and then you don't have any more headroom. So the last thing we did is a series of de-essing. One does more of the work. It splits around 6.5K. The other one kind of catches the other stuff. The threshold is not down as much on the other one. Let's listen to that.
Well, it's the rhythmical pinnacle of syllables, digital criminal killing you. What you gonna really do? Drilling you with sound waves. Feel it when the ground shakes. Silly, you should really keep your mouth taped. Don't hate.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to reduce some of the listening fatigue that you would get from listening to a really harsh sounding S. You're not going to listen to that very long if you have to. The last thing we're doing, we're just sending this vocal track out to a bus. It's the Vox bus. We're dialing in around -19. What this is a Renaissance verb, and I kind of want to put kind of a small room fill with a little bit of pre-delay in there to kind of space the source vocal from the delay vocal. And the other thing I did to give it more of a wider stereo effect is I reduced some of the center channel using Wave Center on this Renaissance verb, and boosted the sides up just a hair, just a subtle amount, so that you can feel the width of the stereo spectrum. Let's listen to that.
Well, it's the rhythmical pinnacle of syllables, digital criminal killing you. What you gonna really do? Drilling you with sound waves. Feel it when the ground shakes. Silly, you should really keep your mouth taped. Don't hate.